Gostisbehere slipped it out in front, back to Gostisbehere. Second chance, he scores! Markstrom with the save, but persistence is named Shayne Gostisbehere, and we're tied at 1. Now great work by Orlov. He'll dish it away, and here comes Martinook. He's got Staal with him. Martinook up high, he scores! He continues to beat the devil! Jordan Martinook shorthanded, it's 2-1 Carolina. Now he'll get the shot through, deflected, Andersen with the save. Rebound, Tatar to it, he'll drop it back. Chance, Andersen, oh my goodness! This chance gets out in front, back to Nemetz, a quick shot out in front. Andersen makes the save again.
His side-to-side movement there on Bastion, premier.
What a playoff hockey game. What a playoff hockey game. Hi, everyone. I am Adam Gold, and this is the Canes Corner podcast, except no substitutes. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. They might have to come out here and repair the roof because, oh my goodness, Frederik Andersen, Jordan Martinook, Rod Brindamore said it in the postgame. And we would have been here a lot sooner, except there's a lot of extra postgame during the playoffs because not only do we have normal locker room stuff, they bring guys to the podium. We had a lot of stuff to do on the generic. Shouldn't say that. It was a good postgame show. This is a better postgame show. Anyway, we'd have been here a little bit earlier, but we were scheduled for later, so never mind. But the between Martinook and Andersen, man, what a game by both guys. All right, just a couple of nuts and bolts. This is the 5th year in a row the Hurricanes have hosted the first 2 games in the first round. In other words, you had home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And they are now 10-0 in games 1 and 2 over the last 5 years. Like, I haven't done this research, but here's what I'm going to promise you. Ain't nobody 10-0 in those 5 years. Nobody. It is remarkable that across the league, where it's so difficult to win on home ice in the playoffs, although this year has been an outlier, the Hurricanes just crank out, boom, after another, after another. Although tonight, obviously not easy. I listened to a lot of and read a lot of, well, Canes, Devils, this series is over, short series. I said before the series I thought this would go deep. I thought we were looking at a 6 or 7 game series. I get why everybody after game 1 would say, not going to happen. Tonight was the reminder that not a lot separating these two teams. We forget that over the last half of the season, Carolina has not been an offensive machine. Devils haven't either, but Carolina hasn't been an offensive machine. Devils are under 3 goals a game since Jack Hughes left the lineup. Strangely enough, their power play got a little bit better without Jack Hughes, but I promise you it's not better without Jack Hughes. Certainly not better without Luke Hughes, too. But the Hurricanes are basically scoring at about the same clip as the Devils are over the last, 30 games or so. So Carolina is going to have to win games with defense, special teams, and timely goal scoring. Those things happen tonight. But I heard so much about, this can be a short series now, and now we have to change the way we think about the Hurricanes in terms of, this team might be able to win a Stanley Cup. We are such a long way from really thinking in those terms. So not to be the wet blanket here, and I don't mean to be, pump the brakes on anything beyond this series because, as I brought up in the open, not of the podcast, but in the open of the pregame show, a series does not begin until the home team loses a game. Now, certainly, team with home ice advantage can win 4 games at home, and then the series would be over before it's actually begun. That happened a few years ago when the Canes beat Boston winning all 4 games here, winning Game 7 thanks to Max Domi showing up for the first time as a Hurricane. He'll always be a Hurricane based on 2 goals in Game 7. The following year, or the following series, Hurricanes couldn't win on home ice in Game 7 as the Rangers' power play overwhelmed them. But Carolina won both games here against the Rangers, Games 1 and 2. Lost Games 3 and 4 in New York. Won Game 5. Lost Game 6. Lost Game 7. So you're going to have to win. Probably going to have to win a game in New Jersey to win this series. You're certainly going to have to win a game in New Jersey to wrap up this series short, in 4 or 5. And frankly, that ain't going to be easy. And again, I bring you to tonight. The margin tonight was nothing. It's a 2-1 hockey game. The empty net goal is the empty net goal. Carolina won this game 2-1. Jacob Markstrom was really good. Carolina had plenty of chances. So did the Devils. Freddie Andersen beat Jacob Markstrom for the second straight game. That's the difference. We thought, we all, I think a lot of people thought going into this series, Carolina's goaltending, not so sure. 2 games in, Frederik Andersen, 48 saves on 50 shots. 960 save percentage for Andersen. The chance of Freddie, even from Jordan Martinook. In the post-game interview on the bench with Hannah Yates on FanDuel, Martinook grabbed the mic and started chanting, Freddie. And for my money, Martinook was the best player in the game. But I ain't going to argue if you think it was Freddie. To me, 1A, 1B, Andersen was spectacular. Andersen really great in the third period. Holy cow. What a third period. I thought Jordan Martinook, and I'll have to go see exactly how many minutes he played. 14:36. Nutty how good Jordan Martinook was tonight. I said during the beginning of the post-game show, the one you could hear on the radio on 99.9 The Fan, to me, it was the best game he has played as a Hurricane. And he has played a lot of great games, but I don't think Jordan Martinook has played a better game than he did tonight. The shorthanded goal, yeah, but it was everything else he did on the penalty kill. And again, yes, the shorthanded goal is part of the penalty kill. But he blocked shots. He defended so well. The hustle, the leadership. I said this, and I wanted to start with the goaltender, and we're going to get back to Freddie. But let me just talk quickly about Martinook. Because, and real quick to Jeffrey, who wants an extension for Martinook. We just got one. This is year 1 of a 3-year deal. Martinook and Staal's contracts expire the same year. So, who knows? My guess, and I hate looking 2 years down the road, my guess is it'll be the last contract here for both players. Just my guess. And we should not even cry about that now because 2 years is a long time. But I said this last year in my conversation with Martinook. We were doing the exit interviews, and I was down. There were certain guys I desperately wanted to talk to because the possibility of not having Jordan Martinook around was real. And I remember going back and forth with some of the members of the media here who cover the team about what I thought was right for the franchise and right for Martinook. And I thought I just couldn't envision, I couldn't close my eyes and see the Hurricanes without 48. Now, he spent time in Arizona first before he got here. But to me, he's an original Hurricane. This era, this Rod Brind'Amour era, Martinook has been here as long as Rod has been the head coach. In fact, he was traded for, actually, I think during the playoffs the year before. I had never heard of him. I remember I got an email from the team. Hey, do you want to have Jordan Martinook on? And I went, who's Jordan Martinook? No joke. 7 years later, the head coach is the culture. But the players who buy in, the players like Martinook, they make the culture, they bring that culture to the room, to the ice. And Jordan Martinook, as much as anybody in Carolina's locker room, as much as Jordan Staal, as much as Sebastian Aho, as much as Seth Jarvis, Jacob Slavin, Brett Pesce, the guy we saw tonight. Gosh, was he good. Jordan Martinook is the culture of the Carolina Hurricanes. And tonight, I thought this game was entirely about the culture of the Carolina Hurricanes. What are they built on, right? They're built on hard work. Like, they didn't get 60 minutes of Hurricanes hockey living behind you, making your life miserable. They did that for a good 10 minutes of the second period, which nearly got them 4 goals and only got them 2. But all of the other elements, the penalty kill, the attention to detail, the effort, the intelligence, matching another team's desperation. I mean, that's what Martinook brought to the game. Then you add the shorthanded goal, the play on the face-off that Jordan Staal, air quotes, won. For those people watching on YouTube, you could see me do the air quotes. But for those people just listening in a regular podcast form, wherever you get your podcast, I had to say air quotes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen me do the air quotes. Anyway, that's a good spot right there to remind you to subscribe, like, rate, review. Tell us what you like, that you like, and I will say hi to people in a second here. But again, just getting back to Martinook, that's what tonight was about. Because the Devils were plenty good enough to win this game, which is why I caution people about getting too far out over your skis based on what Game 1 looked like Sunday, which was really Hurricanes domination. This was not. This was a game that could have gone either way. And in fact, I think I might have said this earlier, but according to Natural Stat Trick, expected goals, how many goals we expected out of this game, Natural Stat Trick had this game at 5-4 Carolina. And it was 3-1 Carolina. An absolute crazy game. And we had some goofiness. We had Jacob Markstrom punching Andrei Svechnikov in the back of the head when he was on the ice down by his goal crease. It was weird, but it's okay. It's all good. And as we transition to talk about the goaltender, let me just say 2 quick things. I miss the hell out of Brett Pesce. Tonight was the day we missed Brett Pesce the most. Not that we needed him, because we didn't need him tonight. The guys were awesome without Pesce. But that game might be 4 or 5-1 Carolina, were it not for Pesce. He had a monster block shot on Carolina's last power play. He's literally saved 2 goals. So he was by a million miles the best player for the Devils tonight. Second game in a row. Million miles the best player. And he has to deal with Dougie Hamilton right now until Luke Hughes can come back from whatever's bothering him. And he had to really cover for a lot of Dougie Hamilton mistakes tonight. Hamilton is in the playoffs, unfortunately, we have Dougie fans out there, I'm sorry. Hamilton is a liability in the playoffs. He can give you scoring. He can give you offense. But, boy, if you are counting on him, especially against top lines, man, he can be a liability, and he kind of was tonight. All right, let me get to the goaltender. Because we heard all of the Freddie. Oh, before we get to the goalie, my fault. Dublin, Ireland, high. South Everett, I guess that's South Everett, Washington, because South Everett and Lake City, Washington were, I guess, making tailgating plans. Bluefield, West Virginia. Wilmington, North Carolina. State Road, North Carolina. Whitby, Ontario. Shouts to you. Sarasota, Florida. Bogota, Colombia. Colombia. Did I say that correctly? Phoenix, Arizona. Bahaba. I said that right. I have been to Bahaba. It is awesome. Wake Forest. Patrick's in traffic. Patrick might be home already for all I know. From, let's see, Mo Meyer, North Carolina. See what I did there? Atlanta and Chesterfield, West Virginia. Shouts to all of you. I am sure there are others here on the Canes Corner podcast. So, those of you might have heard me say I would have started Pyotr Kochetkov in game 2. And I had a reason for doing that, for wanting to see that. One is we're going to need Pyotr Kochetkov. Now, he's going to play one of the 2 games in New Jersey, I hope. I thought that was going to be the case last year on Long Island, and it wasn't. Rod went Freddie. I got to think that Kochetkov is going to play one of the 2 games in New Jersey. Part of me hopes it's Friday's game 3 rather than Andersen in game 3. Not that he had a huge workload tonight, but I think he was stressed in the third period. He played great. I wouldn't mind the extra day and a half for Freddie. 2 days rest versus 4 days rest. I kind of like the 4 for Andersen, who for the first time all year played consecutive games. First time all year. Back-to-back, not back-to-back, but consecutive games. But the reason I would have started Kochetkov tonight is because he's better at home, and you know you're going to need him in one of these 2 games coming up, I'm going to guess. And on the off chance Freddie doesn't win, doesn't play well in game 3, take a little bit of pressure off if Kochetkov's got a game under his belt and hopefully a win under his belt. Remember, when Pyotr's right, when Pyotr's dialed in, Pyotr can be great. No joke. We've seen it. We've seen Pyotr be great on the road. But I think he's going to play one. That's why I would have started him in game 2. I kind of knew what the head coach was going to do, but that's what I was just floating that out there. Now, while I would start him in game 3, I think there's like a 1% chance Kochetkov starts game 3 based on what we just watched for 120 minutes of hockey. Frederik Andersen has a .960 save percentage through 2 games. And he was like a more of a passenger in game 1, although he did make that great save on Timo Meier in the third period to keep it 3-1. Tonight, he was a bus driver. He and Martinook were like taking turns at the wheel. And Freddie made, 3 or 4 dynamite saves. You heard 2 of them in the montage. Heck, I'm sure there were more than that. But Nathan Bastian should have scored. And Steph Nason should have scored. Just incredible stuff. That save on Nason came in the power play. Carolina's penalty kill, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Carolina's penalty kill was excellent tonight, but in the last minute of New Jersey's third power play, it stopped being about the penalty killers and started being about the goaltender. And the Devils ended up with 7 total shots on goal in 3 power plays. That's pretty good. They had missed the net twice, and there were 3 blocked shots. So my math tells me 12 shot attempts in 3 power plays. And I thought Carolina's penalty kill was great, but Andersen became a huge part of that on the third power play. Of course, Carolina gets the only goal. But what Andersen was tonight was quick. The movement was excellent. Was there a bit of good fortune? Sure. Could have been a goal that Brent Burns sweeps away, beats Andre Palat to the puck. But those saves that he made late, yeah, yep. That's the Frederik Andersen that Rod Brindamore in his brain goes, I know he's there. We just got to keep him there. So they might have to euthanize a game if you assume that playing Pyotr Kochetkov is a loss. I wouldn't assume that. But if you are thinking, well, we might have to sacrifice a game in order, it's like baseball. I hate sacrifice bunting. Some of you like it. But there are times, albeit it would be against my soul, to sacrifice an out. I could see Rod Brindamore saying, you know what? I don't know what we're going to do tonight, but I gotta play Pyotr. I'd like that to be game 3. Take your chances. But I think if Carolina wants to have a long playoff run, they might have to sacrifice a game. If, in fact, playing Kochetkov sacrifices a game. Again, I am not saying that's what it does. In order to keep Frederik Andersen looking like this, because we know for a fact that he will wear down. And that isn't even a negative. He's just not that guy anymore. Man, was he that guy tonight. I mean, just incredible. Again, 25 saves tonight, 23 saves on Sunday in game 1, a .960 save percentage. And again, I'd like to see Kochetkov play game 3, less pressure with a 2-0 lead. But I'm almost certain with an extra day off, it'll be Freddie. 2 days off. I'd love him to get 4 days off. Anyway, a couple of more things before we dive out of here. And again, thank you very much for your time. All year long, we spent time talking about special teams. All year long. Gnashing of teeth at the power play. Power play sucks. Power play sucks. It did. No question. From the first of the year, really to the end of the season, apart from like a 4, 5, 6 game stretch when it looked like they had solved the issue, power play hasn't been any good. Penalty kill has been great all year. They're ranked first. Tonight showed you why. Sunday showed you why. They had the best penalty kill in the league. So in the series, Carolina was +1 on Sunday. Power play goal, nothing allowed. Today, 0 for 3 on the power play. 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. Do I get that right? And a shorthanded goal. So Carolina was +1 and +1. You could even take it a little further. Maybe it's +1.5 because the shorthanded goal, it's really +2. The shorthanded goal that you get versus the power play goal that they think that they might get. I mean, what is that worth? You can make it +2. So if we do that, Carolina's +3 in special teams through 2 games. You're going to win the series if you win the special teams battle in more games than the other team does. And Carolina's 2 for 2 in special teams, and they're 2 for 2 on the scoreboard. So it's pretty simple. And you could go and trace it back. Every series Carolina has lost. It isn't so much that you win special teams and you win the series. For Carolina, I have always said this. Break even in special teams. I think they figure out a way to win a series. I don't think they're quite as dangerous offensively now as they were, in past years. And the numbers bear that out. But I still believe as long as you don't lose special teams, I think Carolina's got a great chance to win a series. But if the Canes win special teams, yeah, they ain't losing a series when they win special teams. And they won special teams in games 1 and game 2. Let me talk about the turning point in tonight's game. So Carolina plays kind of a sleepy first 6, 7, 8 minutes, got to their game. It's 1-0 after one. Thankfully, it wasn't any worse than 1-0. Not that the Devils were so great, but the Devils were better. They won the first period, and they got the result they needed. They got a goal on the scoreboard. That happened early. And I'll explain what happened on that goal in a sec. And then Carolina gets into the second period, and it looks a lot, not quite as good as Sunday's second period, but it looks a lot, actually it looked more like the first period on Sunday, where Carolina was clearly the better team. The shot total wasn't as egregious, 17-5 Sunday in the first period. It was 12-9 in the second period. And the Devils had some chances in the second as well. And this really was a much more even game throughout. But you get the goal, and the top line, which I think has been good defensively through 4 games and good in terms of puck possession, but hasn't been good in generating scoring chances. And we needed to see something from Aho, Jarvis, Blake as a trio in this series. And that shift, which I don't know how long it went, 40 seconds maybe in the New Jersey end. But that shift showed you Aho, Jarvis, Blake, bunch of retrievals from Jarvis and Blake and Aho. You just extend the possession. And then Gostisbehere comes in. He gets the pass across from Blake. First shot, saved. Rebound, right back to him. Markstrom's down. He goes up high, and it's 1-1. Turned the entire game around. The roof went crazy. By the way, shouts to Hurricanes fans twice in a row. Sunday, Easter Sunday, 3 o'clock, showed out in the parking lot. Building was great. Tonight, 6 o'clock start here, an hour earlier than anybody would have wanted, including the Hurricanes, for a playoff game. Building was great. Kudos to all you. But that shift turned the game. Carolina looked like they scored on the bump-up shift. This was the first of 2 Brett Pesce saves. I would say the puck was probably 85% across the line. Pesce kept it in or kept it out of the net. But that line, that shift led to the Gostisbehere goal, changed the game. Carolina gets the almost goal. Then you take a penalty. It wasn't even a penalty. It was Aho in the box, too. To me, like, I get it. It looked, I understand what it looked like, and at real speed, it's hard to see that Aho doesn't get on the hands. Forget who it was. That the stick, the blade of his stick is the shaft of the stick, not on the hands, and it was below the hands. So it really is a non-call. But anyway, Carolina's in the box, and then Jordan Martinook, with help from Dmitry Orlov, who got the only assist on that goal, by the way. Now, quickly about Orlov, who I thought played a good game, had a rough start because on the first New Jersey goal, it's a pretty simple play. Orlov goes behind the net for the puck, and he and Chatfield are under pressure, but Orlov has an opportunity because he picks the puck up, moving from around the goal. If you're looking out from Andersen on the right, he picks up the puck, and he's skating it behind the net, and he thinks that, hey, I can reverse the puck to Jalen, who can skate it out that side, maybe without pressure behind him, but he didn't execute what he wanted to do well enough, and all it did was enable New Jersey to fight and battle for the puck, and they ultimately won that battle, and even though it was outside the offensive zone, New Jersey had already exited, and they entered the zone with numbers. If Orlov keeps the puck, he's got a much greater chance. Even if he ices it, he has a much greater chance of getting it out of harm's way. So I thought the decision by Orlov to reverse the puck invited problems. On top of that, Carolina was trying to execute a line change, which they did partially, but Jordan Staal was caught out. Jarvis and Blake had come on for Martinook and Stankoven, and ultimately it becomes a 2-on-1. Eric Haula, his shot is saved by Andersen, but the rebound goes right to Jesper Bratt in front, and it's 1-0 New Jersey. And to me, that was a mistake in decision and judgment by Orlov, and then it's compounded by a mistake in execution. So two bad things happened. Carolina couldn't win the battle of the puck along the wall just inside the blue line. And even though the puck did exit the zone, the Devils were already out of the zone fighting for the puck, and then they ultimately end up and score. And the worst part about it is that I have no problem with Jesper Bratt scoring because he's a great player. But, Hall and Hamilton get the 2 assists. I'll make one change for game number 3 other than Kochetkov, who I would like to see play. But I'm telling you, there's a 1% chance of it. It'll be Freddie Andersen. The only change I would like to see in game 3. Mark Jankowski in, Jack Roslovic out. This is not about Roslovic didn't play well. I thought Roslovic was better in game 1 than he was in game 2. But here's where I think Jankowski would be a help to the Hurricanes. On the road, when you don't have the benefit of last change, I think Jankowski gives you stronger defense than Roslovic, and the last thing you want are teams taking advantage of a weak link defensively. Jankowski better at that than Roslovic. The chance that Roslovic gives you offense, I mean, they're higher than Jankowski, sort of, although Jankowski has 8 goals in 19 games of the Hurricanes. But that's what I would do. I would start Jankowski on the road over Roslovic. It's the only change I would make. But that's it. That's the only change I would make. This was Frederik Andersen's 40th career playoff victory. Shouts to him. It was also Rod Brindamore's 40th career playoff victory as a head coach. Shouts to Stormbringer for shooting that into the chat. He had 39 wins in the playoffs as a player. Is that it? Really? All the wins in 2002? Carolina won 3 rounds. That's 12 plus 1 in the playoffs is, maybe it's just with the Hurricanes. So it's 11 playoff wins there. Brindamore won 2 games in 2001. I'm doing the math in my head now. So 2 plus 13 is 15. Then in 2006, we know how many wins they got then. That's 16. That is 31. And then 2009, 8. 39. So it's 39 as a Hurricanes player, 40 as a Hurricanes coach. Not bad. It's pretty good. And that will do it for us. This has been the Canes Corner podcast, brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. Man, this was fun. What a great freaking hockey game. Canes not lucky. They deserve to win. But this is also a win that could have gone either way. So hopefully Carolina will be just as good Friday night as they were tonight. And maybe Frederik Andersen will win them another hockey game. And if they can get up 3-0, that will be awesome. All right, we'll see everybody Friday night. Game starts a little bit later than normal, as opposed to starting a little bit earlier than normal. So it's a Friday night, man. What are you doing Saturday? Nothing. We'll see everybody Friday night right here, youtube.com/Canes Corner. Rate, subscribe, review, do what you like. Tell your friends, and we'll see you here coming up after Game 3 on Friday. Good night.